A very hearty good morning to all of you, dear students. Welcome to my channel, and I hope you all are studying well, preparing well, and also keeping safe at the same time. Today, we are going to take up the last two sessions of the third chapter, that is ICT skills, and we will see how these two topics are already being used by us in our daily life and how they can benefit us in future also. So let's move on. So this is what we are going to do today. That is, we are going to take up session 10 and session 11. As you can see over here, we are going to first start with introduction to social media. Within that, we will study social network, what is various social media apps, media sharing apps, blogging apps, social news apps, and some social networking apps also. Then we have session 11, which is something very vibrant and which is the agenda being followed these days, that is Digital India. What is Digital India? What are its benefits? The nine pillars of Digital India and the complete vision of Digital India in detail. So I really hope that you people have a fruitful session today. So let's move on to our today's lecture. So we are going to start with introduction to social media. So what is social media? Basically, we people are these days so used to social media and social networking that we have forgotten the value of meeting people in person. Our interpersonal communication has dropped a lot and our social networking has increased manifold. So now students, social networking is not that bad. It is also good, but in because with social networking you can also connect to your friends, your long lost friends, your relatives, your near and dear ones who are living in distant places. So it is a very good option when it comes to connecting to people, building our network, and not only for the purposes of interacting with them or talking to them after a long time or meeting our near and dear ones, but also in creating a strong network, strong network with career in mind. Okay, so with the career perspective also you can create a strong network of people and contacts whom you could stay in touch with, and this would help you in your growth in career also. So let's see what is social network. It is a convenient way to get to know people whose interests, opinions and likes and dislikes are quite similar to yours. Of course, we as human beings, we normally have a human tendency of connecting to those people whose interests, opinions, likes and dislike matches with ours. Popular with users of all age groups, especially youngsters. That's of course, it's nowadays not even, it's not just youngsters who are fond of social networking, but also elderly people are also gaining a lot from social networking apps. They get to know each other, they get to know their long lost friends and their batchmates, their relatives, their children who live in faraway places or in foreign countries. So they also get to connect with those people and work. Next is, you need to register at these websites to be a part of social network. Not only youngsters but even elderly people are fond of social networking because they get to know their old batchmates, people, their long lost friends, and also their children who live in foreign countries. Visiting them might not be an option, so they can easily connect with their children through social media and they can easily interact with them. Also, it is a very handy when it comes to when it comes to talking to people, that too through video conferencing or video calls, because we know that international calls through telephones, they are quite costly and expensive. Hence, social networking provides a very easy and cost effective alternative to connect to people or to our own family members who are living abroad. So you can easily connect to those people and you can interact with them. So for using social networking sites, you have to first register at these websites. You need to create your own list of friends to interact and share views with them. So, one word of caution, do not make friends with just anybody who sends you a friend request. Always accept the friend request of those people whom you know in person and those who have a proper profile picture. Okay, and first check their profiles. If suppose you find that the profile is entirely logged, do not consider it as an option to add them into your friend list. Immediately reject them or delete those requests and report them. Okay, you always have a report abuse option in most of these social networking sites. So any kind of cyberbullying or online harassment, you can easily report that. You can also share your photos, audio, and video files with others. But here also, again, a word of caution, do not share your personal photos and videos very often, because this helps other people to know your exact location. And there, it's not necessary that it's always your well wishers and friends who are aware of your location, but also many people are there with some. Hidden interest or some hidden motives who might want to know your exact location. So it is a good idea never to upload geotagged photos. Geotagged photos are those photos which have the exact longitude and latitude, the look. So this is how you can use your social networking sites. Now let's see what are the various social media apps which you can use. Number one is Twitter. It is a microblogging site and it is an online news and social networking site. Users can communicate through short messages called tweets. So tweets are usually very short messages and which are posted. And if you have your followers, those followers will be able to view your tweet. And also, if you have tagged someone using their Twitter handle, usually Twitter handles are something which are like these. You can see it over here. These are Twitter handles. So if you are using the Twitter handle of a specific person, that person will be able to view this message. Okay, so I'll give you a very nice use of this Twitter. If you tag, if you use the Twitter handle of the railway ministry or our honorable railway minister Mr. Piyush Goyal, so if you are tweeting with that Twitter handle, immediately your problem will be resolved. Like in it happens many a times when you are traveling in a train and you are not getting proper supplies, or if suppose you are being overcharged for your meal, or your toilet is not properly cleaned, or any such discrepancy is there, you can easily quickly tweet on the Twitter handle of the railway ministry, and easily somebody, and within half an hour your problem will be solved. Some person would be sent to solve your problem. So with the help of this, you can easily get not you can not only get information, but you can also call for help at the right moment. Facebook, of course, we all already know it is a commonly used social networking sites where users can create their profiles, upload photos and videos, send messages, help people to create a virtual social circle, and keep in touch with friends, family, and colleagues. Not only this, you can do much more with Facebook. You can even create your community page, or if you are thinking about giving a startup, that is setting up a startup, a business startup, so you can easily create a Facebook page where you can promote your goods and services, and easily you will get multiple likes and people will be able to watch any new product which you have launched or any new service which you are going to start. Okay, so all these things you can promote your business online through social networking sites. media sharing. Now media sharing means you have media like audio, video and photos, images and stuff. So you can easily share that media online. So one very common media sharing app which we know about is YouTube. YouTube provides you ample features. You can upload your video also. You can create your YouTube channel and you can share your videos. You can get subscriptions to your channel. The more the number of people subscribe to your channel, minimum you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. That is, if many people have watched your videos and those watch hours are touching 4,000 watch hours, then you will be able to monetize your YouTube channel. That is, will be paid by YouTube, that is Google. So it is not only that, but you can also get help regarding any thing which you need. You can get tutorials. You can easily get many tutorials online. You can also watch videos of your choice. Okay, so also YouTube gives you recommendations based on your interest. The last type of video which you had searched, if you are very fond of cooking videos, that is videos which involve cooking, so you can easily, once you search for one such video, you will quickly keep getting recommendations based on that search. Then you have Flickr, which is usually a video and mostly an image sharing site where you can share, upload your images and share it with people. And then we have blogs. Now what are blogs? Blogs are usually you can say a personal account of interest. That is, if you are interested in a particular field, you can easily create a blog. You can create a small website very quickly and post whatever you want. If suppose you are promoting any uh, thing, if you are promoting your business, so you can keep posting photos and descriptions regarding your business. Or if you are promoting, if you are a writer, you can easily upload your stories online and let people read. If you are a freelance writer, you can easily upload your articles online and people can read and post their comments on that. So these are blogs. So there are certain blogging sites like eBlogger, as you can see over here. It is a blog publishing website, enables users to create and publish blogs on the internet. Blogs are hosted by Google and accessed using a subdomain called blogspot.com. So you will be getting a subdomain. Suppose I can get a domain like this, www.gargi.c.blogspot.com. So this becomes a subdomain. So this is how you can easily create your blogs and publish them. So blogs can contain any detailed account of any area of interest. Like I am very fond of cooking, so I will be creating a blog where I would keep uploading my recipes as well as its photos and videos online on the blog, and I can even earn money through this. That is through the advertising revenue which would be generated the more number of people they watch my blog. So whenever the more is the number of visits on my page, the more I will get paid also. So many people are even earning online using blogs. So you can see one image over here, like this is eBlogger, how you can create different blogs over here. So you can see, and that too on different topics. I'll show it once again. Family adventures, it could be a family adventure, or it could be technology news, my cooking blog, or anything whichever you need. Okay, so you can create a blog on any area of interest which you want. Then next you can see over here another example. These are some screenshots which I am sharing with you, like media kit DIY swank. That is, if suppose this person, these two people, they are very fond of creating DIY items, that is do it yourself items, and so this is a blog created by them about their items. So I'll just read a few lines from this. Our blog is about living a DIY lifestyle. Our goal is to inspire our readers with simple, inexpensive, and creative ways to improve their own lifestyle. We are passionate about bringing style and functionality to our homes while staying within a budget. So you can see that this is a blog which these two people have created, and it's looking like a mother daughter duo. So they have created this blog to promote their DIY items, and also they share the method, the procedure to create them. This is another example. You can see this is another example of a blog created by someone, and this is also for now there are various posts which you can see how do I SEO this thing, that is search engine optimization. And then you have from here to the finish line in Boston, the life changing magic of the shut the hell up, I wear my heart on my mouth. So these are various ways, these are various in the, you cannot define the interest, you can have different blogs of people with different interests. Then again a cooking, you can see a cooking blog, pinch of yum, make this for dinner. So you can see this is a small blog which a person has created related to the recipes. So people, if you are very interested in cooking, you can easily go on uploading images, nice delicious looking up images and the recipes online. Your personal blog, so this is again a personal blog based on the platform's content management system. You can manage it, create pages, menu items, forms, and so on. Then another one is WordPress. This is also another website which you can use to create your blogs. It is free and open source content management system. Normally the text which we write, text and images which we insert in our web page or blog, that is known as content. We can create and publish blogs using this. So we can see another example of a WordPress blog, TED blog. TED is a very famous site. You will find numerous informative videos on YouTube for TED. So they create, basically their blog is all about the different kinds of, they relate to various innovations in various fields like reading list, big ideas in books. Then you can see the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Okay, how a TED talk inspired a row across the Pacific Ocean. So it is all about decisive ideas, scientific breakthroughs, critical junctures, and so on. So basically, TED blog is about all the latest innovations taking place in various fields, whether it is history, astronomy, technology, computer science, mathematics, and so on. So there are certain themes also. Even WordPress provides you various themes like top DJ headphones, trust in your intuitions, working from your home, real-time design tools, some amazing buildings, a day alone at the sea. So various templates, ready-made templates are also available which you can utilize to create your blogs. Then it is another one. This is a standard post and so on. Next, we have social news, that is some online news sharing platforms. What is social news? It is a platform that allows users to share different news items. Users can also vote for these items. News item with maximum votes is displayed more prominently. As an example, you can see Dig. It is a social news aggregator. When we say aggregator, it means the word aggregator means collector, a gatherer. So this is a social news aggregator, that is it collects and gathers news from various sources. So gathers news on trending issues, stories or news for internet audience. So you can see over here there are, these are the votes. The maximum votes are the news with the news post with the maximum votes is displayed at the top. So you can see it, nearly half of Palin Bakers may flee GOP if she isn't nominated. Then world's biggest slip and slide looks like world's most fun activity ever. So there are various topics. If you are interested, you can choose your topic of interest also, like business, entertainment, gaming, lifestyle. science, sports, technology, world news, offbeat, politics, and so on. So any topic which you want, you can easily search the news on that topic. So this is another screenshot which you can see, and you can also see some top news and some votes also. So here you can see 49 votes are over here. So this is most recent. You can view these news based on certain criteria. Right now it's not viewing it, showing it on the basis of maximum votes, but on the basis of the recent news. Okay, you can just select based on maximum votes, and that will show you the news with the maximum votes. But mostly it happens with news that we need to check out the latest news. Then another one is Reddit. It is an American social news aggregator. Web content, it provides web content rating, and it also works as a discussion website. So you can also not only view news, but you can also discuss the news online. Next is some social networking apps. On your mobile phones, you can install a lot many social networking apps like the one which we use very frequently, that is WhatsApp. Apart from that, you have Snapchat, you have Tinder, you have Grindr, you have many other some apps. But please, I would request you people not to use apps like these. I'm just going to name them. There are certain apps like, then we have Tinder, we have Grindr. These all are under the name of social networking apps. They are actually dating apps. And you students may fall into traps if you get into these apps. So it's my advice to you people not to use these apps. Rather, you can use some light apps on your mobile. WhatsApp is okay, and we have another one which is a product of India only, that is Hike. Although it's not that popular, but it works like WhatsApp, and it has some additional features than WhatsApp also. But unfortunately, we don't. It's not that popular in our country. But now that Chinese apps are banned, we can easily use our own social networking app, that is Hike app. So that was all about social networking. Now let us switch over to our the highlight of today's class, that is Digital India. Now what is Digital India? In 2014, this Digital India campaign was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and he launched this campaign with the very motive of connecting each and every individual of our country through digitization or through digital methods. So let us see what is Digital India. It's only when our country becomes Digital India, it will be able to run faster on the lines of on the racetrack of progress. So Digital India is a campaign launched by the government of India. It will ensure that government services are made available to citizens electronically by improved online infrastructure, by increasing internet connectivity, and also by making the country digitally empowered in the field of technology. It was launched on 2nd July 2015 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The initiative includes plans to connect rural areas with high-speed internet networks. It is the rural India which suffers a lot because they are barely connected to the cities. Only when we connect rural and urban areas together digitally will the country be able to actually make progress. So there are the three steps: infrastructure, governance, and empowerment, on which digital India is based. Some benefits of Digital India. First thing, reducing paperwork. So it will help in decreasing documentation and reducing paperwork, as most of the work will be done online. Cashless transaction, which is a need of today in this COVID-19 situation, where carrying physical cash with you, the notes, currency notes with you, could be a major source of biological hazard, that is we can easily get infected by that because we don't know, and it might have passed through the hands of n number of people and even through the hands of a COVID-19 patient. So it is a good idea that we should look for cashless transaction wherever possible. And nowadays you find even the street side hawkers who are selling vegetables and fruits, even they have a small placard saying they accept Paytm payments. So it is like you can easily use cashless transaction. Expansion, it can help small businesses. People can use online tools to expand their business. So small businesses can easily use these online tools to expand their business. If you don't have a habit of moving around and promoting your business, you can easily make use of social media to promote your business. You can open an Instagram account, you can open a Facebook page as we discussed some time ago, you can create your own blog and you can try to promote that online, even through WhatsApp, okay, even through YouTube. So you can open an account anywhere, you can tweet about that. Whenever you are releasing a new product, you can tweet it and it will reach thousands of people. Growth in GDP, it can play a key role in the GDP growth. So what is GDP? It stands for gross domestic product, which actually denotes the market value of goods and services produced in a specific period of time. So it will help in increasing the market value of products also. Reducing corruption. E-governance will help in reducing corruption and getting things done quickly. More transparency, that is now there would be more transparency as all the data would be made online available and it would be accessible to all the citizens of the country. What are the 9 pillars of Digital India? Let us see that. First one is broadband highway, creating a broadband highway, universal access to mobile connectivity, public internet access program, information for all, e-governance, reforming government through technology, e-Kranti, that is electronic delivery of services, IT for jobs, early harvest programs, and electronic manufacturing. So you can see these things: broadband highway, universal access to mobile connectivity, public internet access program, e-governance, reforming governance through technology, e-Kranti, information to all, electronics manufacturing, IT for jobs, early harvest program. So now as we are heavily dependent on China for our mobile phone needs, so it will become possible to create, to manufacture those smartphones in our country. And not only smartphones but other electronic devices like tablets, your laptops, computers, everything has to be manufactured in our country itself. Vision of Digital India is segregated into 3 subdivisions. What are they? Let's see. First is infrastructure as utility to every citizen. Second is governance and services on demand. Third is digital empowerment of citizens. Let's see each one of them in detail. Infrastructure as utility to every citizen. To avail high speed internet in all gram panchayats. So uh, it was a vision that by 2016, around 250,000 gram panchayats have to be connected through high-speed internet. And for that, the government also launched a network, that is BharatNet, where gram panchayats are connected with optical fiber. So as we know that optical fiber is the very best type of transmission medium which is used for carrying high speed internet. Okay. So, to provide digital identity having various characteristics such as uniqueness, enduring, online, and authenticity. So, we all have heard about Aadhaar card. So, it is not necessary for you anymore to carry your physical Aadhaar card with you, but you can easily carry it using your mobile phone. Like we normally need Aadhaar cards or any identification when we are traveling by train or aeroplane. So it is a good idea if we have it on our phones, we can easily show it to the ticket checker and easily our work would be done using QR codes and various other things. To enhance participation of mobile phones and bank accounts in digital and financial domain at a user level. So there is an online portal by the government of India, that is PayGov, which can be used for making payments online, whether for any private service or any public sector service. Financial inclusion of all the households in the country. You might have heard about the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which says that every individual, every family will have at least one bank account. And with that bank account, many things would be very easy. Like they would be easily able to get pension. They could use it for insurance purposes. Okay, they can easily get wherever they are working their account. They don't need a separate account to be created. The money would directly be submitted in their would be credited into their account, and if there is any natural calamity, automatically the compensation money would also be deposited into their account. And this recent COVID-19 situation also, because of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, every individual has got some money. Not every, but some people have got some money in their accounts. To provide easy access to a CSC within their locality. CSC stands for Common Service Center. Now, Common Service Center is usually for the rural areas where people don't have easy access to internet and computer. So there are certain such centers, common service centers, which are situated there, where people come for fulfilling most of their internet needs. They can learn internet, how to use internet. They can get computer education, ICT education. They can also pay their bills online. They could also avail various services. So these are ICT enabled front end service delivery points or kiosks at the village level for the delivery of government, financial, social and private sector services in the areas of agriculture, health, education, entertainment, banking, insurance, pension, utility payments, etc. So all these services people can access, that is they can easily make payments, they can avail services related to agriculture, health, education, entertainment, banking, insurance, pension, utility payments, etc. To make a shareable private space on a public cloud. Now, when I talk about a cloud, what is a cloud? Cloud is basically storing all our data online somewhere in a data center. Okay, we don't know where it is. So instead of saving everything on our computer or our device, it is a good idea to share everything using a private space on the public cloud. Like for example, I'll give you an example. You all have heard about Google Drive, right? So Google Drive is an example of a public cloud with private space. Why private space? Because you can easily use it using your Gmail ID. I can have my Gmail ID, and with my Gmail ID I can access Google Drive. I can save any file or folder or any data in my Google Drive account. Same way, your country has also provided, the government of India has also provided one such public cloud known as DigiLocker. So citizens can digitally store their documents, their certificates, etc., and share them with public agencies or others without the need to physically submit them. There are various government utilities or various places where we need to physically carry our documents. Usually it happens with students also, they have to carry their mark sheets, which is not a very safe idea, because those original mark sheets may even get stolen somewhere. So you can just scan them and you can store them through on DigiLocker, and this can be easily accessed anywhere using your phone number and your OTP, and you just need to provide your mobile number over here. You will get an OTP and you can easily access it and show it or submit it wherever you want online. So the need for actually carrying the physical documents is completely gone. So you can access your documents anytime, anywhere, share documents digitally for verification, e-sign documents, which is similar to self-attestation. That is, we used to sign our documents, we used to get a photocopy and sign the document. Instead of that, you can e-sign your documents to ensure safe and secure cyberspace in the country. So it is very essential that our cyberspace is private to us. It is not hacked by anyone. So these models, these websites, they work on privacy, safety, reliability, availability, integrity, and confidentiality. Confidentiality, privacy, all these means that your data will not be leaked out or hacked. Next is governance and services on demand. So what all things do we have? Let's see everything in a GIF. Services in real time from online and mobile platforms. Citizen entitlements to be portable and available on the cloud. Digital transformed services for improving ease of doing business, making financial transactions electronic and cashless, leveraging decision support systems and development, seamlessly integrated services. Let's see them in detail. First, to provide easy and single window access to all persons through flawlessly integrated programs across departments or jurisdictions. That is, using a single portal, all our needs would be fulfilled. We need a single window. Having a single window and using that, we can not only pay our water bills or electricity bills, but we can also get our documents verified somewhere if we want to seek admission into a university, or if we want anything, if you want to get something approved by any government agency. Okay, if we are constructing a house or another, I want to construct another floor of my house, I need approval from the from Nagar Nigam. So all that approval, rejection, proponent, registration, application submission, appraisal, recommendation, everything I can get through one single portal. So one such portal is eBiz, which provides access to some services, which involves documents, approvals, and clearances from authorities outside the department or jurisdiction providing the service. Sometimes it happens that I need to get some appraisals, or I need to get some approvals, or I need to get some documents cleared, some clearances for performing some activity, like I have to purchase a new car, or I have to build a new farmhouse somewhere. So I need some approval, or I need some clearances, or need some documents to be verified. So that can easily be done using eBiz. So you can see, you can send a composite application form to eBiz, and you can apply it to municipal authority, industrial development corporation, labor department, industries department, pollution control board, drug controller, excise. So it's a joint up services which combines workflow of multiple back-end departments. A single request is routed to the appropriate government authorities in a logical manner. So you can submit your application once and it will reach multiple places at once. Next is Meghraj Cloud Platform. So this is a cloud application which has been created by our country and also known as eGranthalaya. So it's a cloud initiative, it's a cloud platform just like Google Drive. So you can easily save your documents here. Then you have Mobile Seva, which provides very various services on your mobile like SMS, IVRS, USSD, and mobile apps. Short messaging service. So IVRS stands for, we'll first write SMS, which stands for short messaging service. Next is IVRS, interactive voice response system. And last of all, we have USSD, universal supplementary service data, and various mobile apps also. Okay, so IVRS is like interactive voice responding system. You call on a number, you get a toll free number, you call there, and you are made to uh, dial certain numbers, like dial 1 to listen in Hindi, or dial 2 to listen in English, and then you dial this number if you want to access this service. Okay, so this is IVRS. USSD is using short codes made up of characters on your mobile, like sometimes to check your balance you use the code asterisk 123 hash, something like this you use. So you just dial this and you easily get your balance, or you can access some additional services also. So that is USSD. And you have mobile apps. Then you have eSangam products solution, which is an e-governance service delivery framework. Then, to avail government services in real time by using online or mobile platforms. The focus today is on designing e-governance applications in such a way that the related information services and grievance handling mechanism are accessible online on a real-time basis and across all types of access devices such as desktop computers, laptops, tablets, mobiles, etc. So grievance handling means if you want any issue to be resolved online, for which you have to otherwise again and again approach a particular office, a government office or a government organization, and you have to listen to multiple people. Instead of that, easily you can avail these online services to solve your problems. National Optical Fiber Network has been created to connect the entire country with optical fiber, that is high speed internet. So this would mean transforming rural India, non-discriminatory access, that is everybody can access internet, 100 Mbps bandwidth to each gram panchayat, high-speed broadband access, availability of government services, opportunities for real rural India, high-quality services to rural areas. So it is, there is the name of this is the fiber optic network, and another one is Bharat Broadband Network Limited, which is again a government of India undertaking, and it is basically, it works in the field of providing high speed internet to villages. Then all citizen entitlements to be portable and available on the cloud. Anything which you need, any document which you need to get verified, it will be available to you on the cloud. The cloud platform can host online repositories for all possible entitlements, thereby providing a single source of truth. This includes public distribution system, BPL, that is below poverty line entitlements, that is, if you want to submit some documents, if you have to prove that you belong to the BPL category, social sector benefits, LPG, other subsidies, if you want to avail subsidies and benefits for different areas, you need to get your documents verified. So you can do that easily by saving everything on the cloud platform. So this platform can enable automated registration, maintenance and delivery of citizen entitlements under several government schemes. To transform government services digitally in order to make improvement in doing business. Starting a business, dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, registering property, getting credit, protecting investors, paying taxes, trading across borders, enforcing contracts, resolving insolvency and other clearances. You can see so many different things. If you want to start a business, you need permission. If you want to construct something, you need to get permit for that. If you want to get a new electricity connection, if you want to register you have purchased a new flat or a new plot, you have to register, get its registry done. You want credit, that is you want some money, on credit, that is udhar lena जिसको हम बोलते हैं, protecting investors, paying taxes. So all these things can be done digitally. These are the various experiences that define how easy or difficult it is to do business in a country. So government services for businesses shall be digitally transformed for improving ease of doing business in the country. As all these things would be done easily online, so it would be easy to set up a business. They can use eBiz for that. And there is another portal, MCA 21, which is Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So this portal can also be used to uh, access various services or get permits to transform government services digitally in order to make improvement in doing business, making financial transactions electronic and cashless. So online mechanisms for payment of fees for certain public services offer a transparent, friendly and expeditious channel to citizens for payment. All financial transactions above a threshold shall be made electronic and cashless. So now by using this portal, you can easily pay money somewhere, and the possibility of a middleman there or an agent in between, that is completely eliminated, and nobody will be able to fool you on that. To leverage geographic information system GIS for decision support systems and development. So sometimes it is also required, like if there is a flood or a natural calamity anywhere, so which exact location that place is, so tracking that location, okay, monitoring physical progress of projects, disaster management, specialized needs of public safety agencies, all that can be possible if that exact location is tracked, and that can be made possible by NGIS, that is National Geospatial Information System, which is again a system like GPS, which makes use of the huge interconnection of satellites covering the Earth's curvature, and exactly using triangulation techniques to figure out the coordinates of a particular location. So this GIS platform can be used in e-governance. So National Geospatial Information is being implemented to integrate geospatial data available with a number of organizations such as Geological and Archaeological Survey of India, National Informatics Center, NRSA, and Ministry of Earth Sciences. So NRSA is National Remote Sensing Center. Okay. So these places, all these organizations, they can easily make use of the GIS platforms for performing different tasks. Like NRSA, National Remote Sensing Center, can be used. It can be used to exactly basically, it is a you can say it is a subunit of ISRO, so Indian Space Research Organization. Because for sending any probe in space or launching any satellite, there has to be a remote connection which is made with the satellites, okay, or the space probe. So for they can also use the GIS platform to exactly figure out the location above the earth. Then National Informatics Center can also use it. Geological Survey of India can also use it. So to develop a GIS platform for e-governance applications. Next is the last one, digital empowerment of citizens. So let's see it in a nutshell. Universal digital literacy, universally accessible digital resources, documents to be available on the cloud, availability of digital services in Indian languages, collaborative digital platforms for participative governance. So to enhance universal digital literacy is very important. When you the very reason why computer is taught in the school is so that all students, whether they opt for computer science in future or not, they become digitally literate. So BBNL, Bharat Broadband Network Limited, will lay out the optical fiber cable terminating in each of the 2,50,000 gram panchayats in the country, providing 100 Mbps link to be used as information highway. So this information highway or this broadband highway will help in connecting the rural areas. This will ensure digitization and connectivity of local institutions such as panchayat office, schools, health centers, libraries, etc. So all these areas could be connected together. The industry has also come forward to support the e-literacy goal through the National Digital Literacy Mission. That is, all people should become digitally literate. So they can easily use this National Optical Fiber Network and Bharat Broadband Network Limited. These two organizations, these two companies are really working in this field. Then we have NIELIT, National Institute of Electronics and Information Technology. So it's an autonomous society under DET, that is Department of Electronics and Information Technology. So that is the, you can also say MEITY, that is Ministry of Communications and Information Technology, Government of India. So it has identified more than 5,000 facilitation centers across the country for training on courses which will equip a person to undertake e-governance transactions through computers and other basic activities like email, browsing the internet. So it is basically aimed at enabling every person living in the rural areas, because urban areas we all are already well versed with internet and its applications, but for making the people at the villages literate about how to use these various tools which we have seen, how to submit data online, or to how to access various government services or access various benefits, and how to access these things, how to submit their documents online, how to get permits for certain things, using performing basic activities like sending emails, text messages, browsing internet. So for all this, National Institute of Electronics and Information Technology is taking the initiative to making to teach people how to do this. So they have also signed MOUs with industry. It is an undertaking document with industry partners towards jointly conducting courses and online examinations on digital literacy to make all digital resources accessible globally. So there is a one portal which is provided, that is data.gov.in, again a platform, an Indian platform, an Indian website, which makes government documents available to citizens anytime, anywhere. The documents may be available in local language also. Documents would be accessible to citizens through web portals and mobile apps. So citizens should not be asked to provide government documents or certificates which are already available with some departments or institutions in physical form, because normally it happens that you submit your applications and your documents at one place, again and again you have to keep on submitting them at various places. So if they are made available on the cloud, you can easily provide a number to them or just show a small proof that they are already there, and these organizations can easily access it from there. Portability of electronic documents should be ensured. So these electronic documents become portable. That is, without the need of carrying them physically everywhere, they will be available everywhere. As an example, educational institutions should ensure that all their degrees and certificates are digitized and kept in online sources with appropriate access protocols. And not only that, they should also be protected, because there is a chance that many fraudulent organizations or people would try to hack into the database. So proper protection measures are also taken. The citizen, while filling some application form, should not be asked to submit the certified copies of his or her educational certificates, but should provide details of these certificates available in the online repository. So what happens is, if these certificates are already available online, so easily by providing a small number or any small identification ID, easily the citizens could submit these documents to multiple organizations. All these repositories of all government issued documents or certificates should be hosted on a cloud platform to provide a single source of truth for these documents or certificates. And these data may include digitally signed educational certificates, land records, driving licenses, permits, etc. So these are some important things which are normally required, and it's not possible for us to carry them on every time. So if everything is on the cloud, I can easily access them from anywhere. Then using DigiLocker also. So how DigiLocker works? Citizens can access them. Issuer can already issues the documents digitally. They are stored there, and the one who is requesting can also access it from here. There are 22 official languages and 12 scripts in our country. So these digital resources and services should be available to people speaking all languages. So knowledge of English may be limited to a small section or a population of the country. The rest often cannot access or comprehend digital resources which are available in English. So TDIL, Technology Department for Indian Languages, is working in this direction to provide these services to people in all Indian languages. To integrate digital platforms for participative type of governance. So there is a portal named MyGov, Meri Sarkar. So what you can say, you can easily interact with the government. If you want, you can submit your feedback online. So this would provide a mechanism to discuss various issues, arrive at innovative solutions, make suggestions to the government, provide feedback on governance. If you are not satisfied with any of the government policy, you can submit your feedback over there. Rate the government actions, policies, or initiatives, and actively participate with the government to achieve the desired outcomes. To ensure the portability of all services of rights for citizens using the cloud. So this way we can make sure that all citizens of the country will be uh, connected digitally. And as you have already seen in recent times also, that the recent class 12th and class 10 results, they were also sent to DigiLocker. So all students sitting at their homes itself, they could easily access their results from DigiLocker. So now it would be there, staying there, and they would not have the need to carry it physically to seek admission. They can, even the place where they are seeking admission into, the university they are seeking admission into, no matter wherever they travel, they can, those university people can access it from DigiLocker. So the student doesn't need to carry it along with him. So all services, if they are digitized, it life would become very easy. And all those people who used to earn money sitting in between, like middlemen or agents, they would be completely busted out, and you don't need to pay any extra money to them. If you are submitting any money, it will directly reach the appropriate organization, and the rate of corruption will also decrease. So that's all in today's class. We have discussed in detail what are social networking sites and what is Digital India. So I hope that it was a fruitful session to all of you. Digital India was, we all used to listen to it. We knew what Digital India is, but we had never seen it in such detail. Okay, even so many, while creating this PPT, even I learned a lot many things that I can, sitting at my home, sitting at the comfort of my home, I can access so many services from Digital India. Okay, so I hope that you people also avail all these tools, and all, not only yourself but also teach your family members also. You can also help other people who are in need of it. So, and there is a portal of Digital India. You can easily go to that portal and you can search for all the different things. You can read everything which is given there, and you can avail the services also. Thank you.